Dharmawardhana is a researcher attached to the Hector Kobbekaduwa Agrarian Research and Training Institute. She has done research on the livelihood development, environmental economics, poverty and food security. Most recently, she engaged with the projects of climate-adapted farming practices and climate adaptation of vulnerable groups in the dry zone of Sri Lanka, leveraging the integrated e-extension services to minimize the Sri Lankan agricultural sector's vulnerability to climate shocks and unveiling the successes and challenges of climate-smart agriculture in Sri Lanka, insights for future interventions. Over to you, Ms. Dharmawardhana.
Very good morning to all of you. A very good morning to all of you. Before moving to my presentation, I would like to give a brief introduction of my study. In the recent past, Sri Lanka has been facing many challenges, including fertilizer shortage-induced lower crop harvest, high cost of production of agricultural products, an unprecedented economic crisis, high food inflation, and rising of high food prices. Also, such hardships were due to unexpected changes in weather patterns, which ultimately resulted to adverse impacts of food security. As a result of that, dry zone farming community facing challenges in securing adequate and nutritious food on their table, especially the resource poor vulnerable community as well. Therefore, under the broad theme of this study, I'm going to present the second presentation titled as Food Security Status Among Vulnerable Farming Communities in Sri Lanka. Hence, we had an attempt to identify the acute food security status of the farming community in the dry zone and to provide policy directives to ensure the level of food security within this community. Also, we used the same data set for this analysis. Food security status was measured using the CARI method, consolidated approach for reporting indicators for food security, which was developed by the World Food Programme. And it is very important to see what is experiencing by this dry zone farming community at the ground level in terms of climate events they face and how they face challenges in securing water for their irrigation purposes, their cropping patterns, and also how they secure drinking water sources. In order to secure the water security and ultimately which leads to the food security at the end of the day. And I'm going to explain the key areas of this during my first presentation. As all of you know, this community is an agricultural community whose main livelihood is agriculture. On the other hand, irrigation plays a critical role in agriculture, which is scarce in the dry zone of Sri Lanka. That's why I'm going to highlight more about this irrigation water in my presentation, which secures the water security for agriculture. Irrespective of the geographical location, main source of water for larger portion of land is rainwater. And also groundwater sources such as tube wells and agro wells are the primary water sources of irrigated areas in Kilnochi and Batticaloa districts. However, these water sources can be impacted by the climate change, which leads to the reduction of availability of groundwater. For example, we can say when there is a prolonged drought, it is difficult to get the farmers to access for water due to reduction of groundwater levels. As you can see in this figure, the most common water source for agriculture is canal irrigation in Hambantota district. So farmers in Hambantota district can survive throughout the year compared to other 3 districts. When considering the cropping pattern of the lowlands, except Hambantota district, many lowland land plots were cultivated during only in Maha season and fallow in Yala season due to the water shortage. As an adaptive measure, it is recommended to cultivate less water demanding other field crops in the Yala season. When it comes to the cropping patterns of the uplands, main crops grown in uplands in Kilnochi is perennial crops such as fruit crops and coconut. In Batticaloa district, in uplands, the farmers mostly practicing mixed cropping, while in Hambantota and Monoragal district, they are practicing cultivation of other field crops. Drinking water is another aspect which is to be considered seriously in this situation to secure the water security. According to survey results, except Hambantota, all other 3 districts are facing challenges in securing quality and safe drinking water. In case of Hambantota, it is due to the development activities that has taken place in Hambantota. As a result of that, most of the areas were provided with pipe-borne water. In here, we considered safe water sources as pipe-borne water, common tap lines, filtered water and bowser water, and domestic wells, common wells, common wells, domestic wells are considered as unsafe water. Up to that, I explained regarding the water security, and from this point I am going to explain the food consumption score and food security status of this community, which was estimated using the carry method developed by the World Food Programme. In Sri Lanka, at present, we are facing high food inflation. And as you can see, 83% of the sample households are coming under the acceptable food consumption score, while 2% are coming under the poor food consumption score. With respect to the district-wise variation, Kilinochchi has the highest food consumption score, and the Monragala is having the lowest food consumption score. When considering the consumption of different food groups across the 4 districts, you can see cereals, pulses are the food groups that are consumed by the majority of the households, and lower consumption of protein-based products and dairy products are limited by these community because of the spike of rising food prices. When they fail to have enough and adequate food on their table, they tend to go for adapt coping strategies. As I mentioned here, they have adapted 5 main coping strategies as less preferred and less expensive food, reduced number of meals eaten, restrict consumption of adults, borrowing foods, and limiting the portion size of meals. As a whole, a majority of the households they adopted less preferred and less expensive food followed by the limiting portion size of meals. At the end, I want to explain the food security status of this community. As you can see, more than 83% of farming households coming under the food secure category. That means this finding implies that there is this farming community has maintained the food security level for a certain extent. And when with respect to the district-wise variation, Kilinochchi district remained remarkably ahead the other districts, and the Monragal district accounts for the lowest food security level across these 4 districts. And thank you very much for your cooperation. I think Ms. Thilani will explain the adoption strategies and policy implications related to food security and all the other gender aspects and all those things.